know, sometimes in sports, the biggest shifts happen quietly, almost under the radar, and then suddenly everyone is caught off guard. It feels like that might be exactly what's brewing with your favorite team's offense right now. We've all been watching the NFL evolve over the last decade or so, and one thing is clear, running backs are no longer the centerpiece they once were. In fact, the position has seen a steady decline not only in how much they touch the ball but also in how much teams rely on them as receiving threats out of the backfield. And yet, what if a team decides to zig when everyone else zags? That's where it gets interesting, looking across the league. There's been this unmistakable trend where running backs are catching fewer passes than ever before. It's almost as if the offensive playbooks have collectively decided that the running back's role in the passing game is a luxury no longer worth investing in. 7 years running, the average number of receptions per game by running backs has steadily dropped. Back in 2017, running backs averaged nearly 11 receptions a game. But last season, that number barely nudged past 8. This isn't just a minor shift. It's a significant redefinition of the role. This change also impacts how running backs are valued financially. Their contracts reflect the diminishing importance of their involvement in the passing game. So, in a league where every inch of advantage counts, why are teams so quick to write off a potential weapon? What's fascinating is how this trend contrasts with individual examples of players who have shown that running backs can still be major offensive threats if used creatively. Some players have proven they can be reliable targets, making key catches and picking up crucial yards after the catch. The problem is that the overall league mindset seems to be moving away from embracing that style. And this leads us to a very important question. What if your team decided to take the opposite approach? What if instead of shying away from involving running backs in the passing game, they made it a central part of their strategy? When you think about the Steelers, for instance, the image that often comes to mind when running backs are involved in the passing game might not be flattering. Najee Harris, despite his undeniable talent, struggled with drops last season. In fact, he ended with one of the highest drop rates among running backs in the league. That visual of him running a route, reaching out for a soft toss, then hesitating, or dropping the ball, sticks in your head. It's frustrating for fans and coaches alike because it undercuts what could have been a big advantage in a passing offense. But then there's Jaylen Warren, a quieter figure who quietly proved that running backs can be dependable receivers. He dropped only one catch all season, catching nearly 40 passes and racking up over 300 yards. His performance shows that there's still room in modern offenses for running backs who can catch reliably and make plays happen. What if the Steelers lean more into that kind of player, or even double down with 2 or 3 guys capable of that skill set? Suddenly, the offense opens up, defenses have to account for another dimension, and the whole dynamic changes. I want to take a step back here for a moment because this reminds me of something that goes beyond football, something from the world of business and strategy. There's this book called Moneyball, and if you haven't read it yet, do yourself a favor and pick it up. The story isn't just about baseball or sports. It's about finding ways to exploit weaknesses or inefficiencies in any market. The key idea is simple. If everyone else is chasing home run hitters, maybe the smarter move is to chase players who get on base consistently, the singles hitters, the contact guys. In football terms, if every team is moving away from using running backs as receivers, maybe there's value in going against the grain. The Steelers have shown flashes of this kind of bold thinking before. Drafting and developing players who don't fit the traditional mold has been a hallmark of their approach for years. Think about Ryan Shazier, who was more like a safety in linebacker's clothing, a hybrid who could cover receivers and make plays all over the field. Or Troy Polamalu, whose unique style changed what safety play could look like. And going back further, Cordell Stewart was a quarterback ahead of his time, someone who blurred positional lines and brought a new level of versatility. So what if the Steelers looked at the current landscape and said, everyone is moving away from running backs catching passes, but we have a quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, who has a long history of doing exactly that. Rodgers, during his time in Green Bay, frequently threw to running backs and made it an effective part of his offense. What if Pittsburgh decides to tap into that potential? They could have 1, 2, or even 3 running backs who not only can catch but excel at it. That would be a direct challenge to the league's prevailing trend. And if it works, it could give them a real edge. From what I've heard, the Steelers are pretty excited about Caleb Johnson, a young player who has shown promise not just on tape but also in practice. The buzz around him is that he could be the kind of running back who fits this vision perfectly. If he can step up and perform at that level, it might mark a turning point for how the Steelers use the running back position, maybe even influencing other teams to rethink their own strategies. This kind of move takes courage and confidence. It's about being willing to zig when the rest of the league zags. And in the highly competitive environment of the NFL, that kind of creativity and adaptability can make all the difference. It's not just about chasing the latest trends, but about understanding your players, your system, and where you can find mismatches. And that's just the beginning. When you combine a quarterback of Aaron Rodgers' caliber with a running back course that can catch effectively, the playbook suddenly becomes much deeper. The defense can no longer just focus on the wide receivers or tight ends, because the backs become a legitimate threat that spreads out defenders, creates more space for big plays, and keeps opponents guessing. It's a different kind of offense, one that embraces versatility and unpredictability, of course. None of this works without solid protection up front. Rodgers is getting older, and keeping him healthy has to be a top priority. But assuming the offensive line can hold up, the possibilities open up in a big way. The Steelers' coaching staff needs to harness Rodgers' strengths while also pushing the team to be aggressive and imaginative. If they do, the offense could look very different from what fans have been used to recently. The NFL is a league of constant evolution, and those who fail to adapt often fall behind. While the mainstream seems to be moving in one direction, there's always value in taking a bold, unconventional approach, especially if you have the right players to pull it off. The Steelers appear to be leaning into that mindset, and it will be fascinating to watch how it unfolds now. Diving deeper into the quarterback situation, Aaron Rodgers arriving in Pittsburgh is a game-changer in so many ways. His presence alone shifts expectations, but what really stands out is the unique way he approaches the game. Rodgers isn't just any quarterback. He's a seasoned veteran who has carved out a career by being smart, adaptable, and unafraid to take control. He brings with him a mindset shaped over nearly 2 decades of high-level competition, where reading defenses and adjusting on the fly is second nature. That level of experience is rare, and it means that the dynamic between him and the coaching staff has to be one built on respect and collaboration. When talking about how much freedom Rodgers gets to audible at the line of scrimmage, it's important to understand that this isn't a question of arrogance or ego, but one of efficiency and trust. Throughout his career, Rodgers has operated with a keen sense of the game's flow. He's constantly scanning the defense, looking for weaknesses or mismatches he can exploit. This ability to adapt in real time is what separates great quarterbacks from the rest. If the coach tries to micromanage every single play without allowing Rodgers to make adjustments, they'd be ignoring one of the biggest assets on the field. It's about balance, a partnership where the coach provides a solid framework, and Rodgers brings it to life, modifying as needed based on what he sees. The Steelers' coaching staff understands this reality. Arthur Smith, the head coach, has his offensive concepts and a defined playbook, but he's not the kind of coach who would shut down a player with Rodgers' pedigree. Smith has built his career on working with quarterbacks and adapting his offense to fit the strengths of his players. This flexibility is crucial because it allows Rodgers to operate within a system that benefits from his instincts without completely rewriting everything. Think of it like a well-rehearsed jazz band. There's a structure, but the lead musician can improvise within it to create magic. That's the kind of synergy that can elevate the Steelers' offense to new heights. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In a move that has sent shockwaves through the NFL rumor mill, whispers are growing louder that the Pittsburgh Steelers are closing in on a major signing. To boost their aerial assault next season, the buzz centers on none other than elite wide receiver Amari Cooper, currently with the Buffalo Bills, who could be headed to Pittsburgh to join forces with young quarterback Kenny Pickett. Sources close to the situation suggest that the Steelers, eager to inject new life into their passing game, are exploring every avenue to acquire the veteran receiver known for his sharp route running and consistent production. Cooper, who has been a key weapon for the Bills, has the experience and skill set to instantly elevate Pittsburgh's offense, providing Pickett with a proven target capable of stretching defenses and making clutch plays. If this deal comes to fruition, it would mark a significant shift for the Steelers, who have been looking to surround their promising young quarterback with reliable talent. After several seasons of offensive inconsistency, Amari Cooper's arrival could be the catalyst that transforms Pittsburgh's passing game into a legitimate threat, complementing their already stout defense and balanced offensive scheme. While nothing is set in stone yet, the possibility of pairing Kenny Pickett with an elite receiver like Cooper has fans and analysts buzzing about the potential offensive explosion in the Steel City. Cooper's blend of speed, agility, and veteran savvy would not only provide a deep threat, but also a dependable option on third downs and in critical situations, something Pittsburgh has desperately sought. The Bills, on the other hand, might be open to parting ways with Cooper as they look to recalibrate their roster, possibly freeing up cap space or acquiring draft capital. This potential trade or signing aligns with Pittsburgh's broader strategy to accelerate their rebuild and contend sooner rather than later. As the offseason progresses, keep a close eye on the Steelers' front office movements and any whispers coming out of Pittsburgh and Buffalo. The NFL world loves a good shake-up, and the prospect of Amari Cooper donning black and gold to ignite Kenny Pickett's development could be one of the biggest storylines leading into next season. For now, it remains a tantalizing rumor, but one that has the Steelers' faithful dreaming of a new aerial dawn. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Pittsburgh Steelers, make sure to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.